be untrue. Oh, baby, let's stay together, loving you weather, times are good and bad, happy or sad. Ooh, yeah. Well, the times are good and bad, happy or sad. Why people break up, oh, and turn around and make up? I just can't see you'd never do that to me, would you, baby? Staying around you is all I see, is what I want to do. We ought to stay together, loving you weather, times are good, bad, happy or sad. Come on, let's stay together, loving you weather, times are good, bad, happy or sad.
Welcome to Monday Night Commish, Episode 8. You already know what it is. Gotham City Batman's podcast network, home of 3 shows now. And you are tuning in to the OG show, the number 1 most watched show, the number 1 most loved show. I get letters all the time from you guys. Send how much you appreciate the show. It's the best show in town. I appreciate that. So let's kick this off. I hope you guys enjoyed my little slideshow here of probably the 3 most valuable players on my team. We got Danny Dimes, Josh Allen earlier, and then who else than Jared Goff to lead it off for my team. But I just wanted you guys to just to see how much I appreciate my own team, and maybe if I could translate that love, across to you guys wherever you guys are with that beautiful Al Green music. So we'll get to the show here. I'll leave it there for now. Maybe we'll play some tunes later to close it out, but let's check out what exactly is going on this week. So we're going to go ahead and start off with yours truly facing the DBs, the bellies over here. You see that final score. You see the 6-1 team. I mean, was there ever any question who was going to win this game? Was there ever any question, really? I mean, sure, my team did not produce on Thursday night, but did anybody ever really bet? Chris, I want you to send in the chat. Did anybody ever bet Kevin? Because if you did, you should be ashamed of yourself. You know my team's gonna get the dub. This is an easy dub, 21-76. Not too much to say. I mean, Kevin underperformed. Obviously Kevin's not going for the win. He wants that high draft pick, so he doesn't really even care too much about this one. And then my team, look at these young guys: Brandon Ayuk, Jerry Jeudy, Noah Fant stepping up to the table, getting me some points. I can't say it was my best performance, but my team just kind of does enough to get the job done. I'm not going to go out and below 200 points when, I can let my players rest and just score 121. So I'm not even going to say too much. We'll leave it there. 7-1, best team in the league. We'll actually be going back into league history to draw some comparisons and see what this current team of mine relates to. But we'll move on to Mike Vick in a box and the Vegas Koalas. Let's see what we got. We got Mike Vick in a box taking the L this week. 20-plus points. Koalas still putting points on the board in the form of Darius Slayton and Rob Gronkowski. Haven't done too much, but a few points there. Vegas Koalas, they're a good team. We're going to go into some of the trash that the Vegas Koalas talked all over the deep dive into the DCs. A real it was an okay podcast. I had some issues, but I think the Vegas Koalas had some good things to say about the commish, so we appreciated that. But there are some things that he may have stepped over the line, as we like to say. But 125 to 105, good week for the Koalas. Alvin Kamara leading the way, Cooper Kupp with a ton of receptions, getting it done, and then Mike Finn in a box just kind of disappoints across the board. I mean, not getting those points from the wide receiver position, Justin Jefferson and AJ Green, a total of whatever that is, 40 or so points. Richard, I don't even know who this is. Rogers, no points there. Dalton Schultz, yeah, tough week, but I don't think he really cares about losing this one too much, as he is on an L4 and most likely out of playoff contention. So probably, again, just the same thing as my matchup with Kevin. The team that wants to make the playoffs wins. The team that doesn't want to make the playoffs loses, which I think the theme may continue as we go on to matchup number 3. Yeah, Austin, I like that 3 tight end set. Beautiful job. Well done. I'm not going to pay attention to Deceptive Magic 7 in the chat. Not a lot of positivity there towards the hybrid organization. So, yeah, there you go. So the Green Machine 108.88 to 91.24. And we got that Brady versus Buccaneers defense. Look at this chart right here. I don't think they're going to come back. They're going to need a massive Brady with some D's. But I just don't exactly see that happening. That's a lot of points to make up in a game that's pretty defensive for the most part. I think the Green Machine is probably going to hang on. Heroes are going to take the L, and just like the other games, Brennan is absolutely fine taking this L. Alex wants to win. George Kittle going out. So we'll see. I mean, that's a big loss for his team. He gets a lot of points with that tight end spot. Having George an elite tight end and then facing off against other teams who barely have a top tight end in the top 20. So he accumulates a lot of points in that tight end spot versus other teams. So it's a big loss for Alex. Who knows how long he's going to be out, though. I think Brennan just said he had a broken foot or something like that. So maybe that's like a 5-week injury or so, and he can come back during playoff time if Alex makes the playoffs. But it looks like it's probably going to be at least a few weeks for Kittle if he has a fractured foot or whatever it is. So we'll move on to the Beasts and Yunt. And if I'm not mistaken, we have a new leader for the highest differential in points in a single game. So it looks like this would be 12 plus 73, 85-point differential right here. That should be, no, not 85. Was that right? Yeah, 85-point differential between these two. So that should put Mr. Boydak in the top spot for that $15 that the Munn Dynasty will cough up later on by the end of the year for violating a roster law that we have in the league. But the Beasts, they're on a tear right now. They're putting up massive points all over the board. The flex, the wide receivers, the running backs, quarterbacks. Quarterbacks actually not maybe the hottest that they've been, but defense really showed up. So solid week for the Beasts. And then the Yunts, this is something that we said earlier in the season. The Yunts are going to be one of the teams that as we get into bye weeks, as we go deeper into the season, they're just going to have difficulties, right? I mean, they're not the deepest roster in the league. You see this right here. Let me pull this up so you guys can see it. We have Drew Sample and Nelson Aguilar putting up double zeros. The double donut right there, we'll call that. And then we also got a 0.8. Making a 0.8 is very high in comparison to those donuts. So I'll say that. So good job from Madison right there, getting some points on the board at least for the Yunts. But yeah, Mr. Boyak just tearing it up, having a great week, setting himself up well, going to go on that W5. And then Patrick, he's a team flirting with a potential playoff spot. Not going to be good though, to fall into 3-5 with an ice cold team. So sucks for him, but good for Mr. Boyak there. And once again, the winning team is going to win. The losing record team is going to lose. So that continues right there. Let's look at the chat real quick. What we're seeing right here. Hawkinson. I don't even know. Yeah, so Alex has got Hawkinson to put in the spot, I guess. So we shall see how that turns out. He's obviously not as good as Kittle. Alex, you could have traded Kittle a year or so ago for 2 first-round picks, but you missed your opportunity. Not good. Let's go to the DCs. and the Mutts right here. So the DCs, we'll be talking about the trades here in a second. We're not going to get into it in this matchup too much, but taking an L against Madden's Ultimate Team. I know he really wanted this win. I was talking to the DCs earlier this week. They really expected victory, But the truth is, when you play a big boy team, and you don't have that big boy level roster, you're gonna take the L. It's just facts. Johnny putting up 170. If you can't go 170 on Johnny, chances are you're gonna lose, and that's what Scott found out. I mean, even with Dalvin Cook going absolutely off, 4 total touchdowns, well over 200 yards. He can't get the dub. It sucks. Scott's gonna win this game against anybody else in the league, right? 2 top scoring teams in the league in this matchup, or 2 of the 3, I should say. But yeah, I mean, Scott's team will be okay. They'll pick up some wins. They're gonna score points every week. But Johnny's team, there's just too much firepower. We got Mahomes and Metcalf leading the way. So I mean, Scott's got Cook, but that kind of canceled out over there with DK Metcalf putting up 40 and Mahomes bouncing back after a tough week last week. Going up against the Jets. No surprise there, putting up 5 passing touchdowns. So it's a good one from Johnny, moving himself up to 6-2 after being on a little bit of a cold stretch. He's heating back up, and Scott coming back down to earth, about going to be a 500 team. Something a little more familiar to him. We'll look into the future with these teams later on, but we will finish up this week's matchups with the Creamers and the Munn Dynasty. And what do we got here? We got Chris looking to come back. I think he was down. What was it about? I think he was down about the full 30 points before this matchup started. But he's looking okay right now with Gallman and Shepard. Maybe he just gets a couple more receptions from Shepard, or each of them catch a pass, 10, 20 yards, and it looks like Chris should pick this one up. This will be a good win for him at 4-3, moving on to 5-3, and putting himself in the playoff spot with Scott losing. And then Shinwoo really honestly has no reason to win this game. He just got pretty sick production in these last 4 spots with Corey Davis, Mike Williams, Koo, and the Steelers defense. But Shinwoo really has no business wanting to win this game. Chris wants to win, obviously, push himself into a playoff spot. I think he's going to get it. We'll probably we'll check back later and see if it's happened or not. But we have one game that's coming down to the wire. Unlike last week, where it seemed like everything was kind of on the line on Monday night. But good job to Chris if he picks this up. We will look at this one later on. So here we go. Let's go back to the league. Let's go back to the league standings and just break this down a little bit. We'll talk about the playoff teams. So you got me. I'm going to 7-1. So 7-1 right here. Going to keep that number 1 spot. We'll have 3 teams at 6-2. Yes, it is absolutely unprecedented that we're going to have 4 teams at 6-2 or better. This makes absolutely no sense. I mean, this is extremely unlikely. I feel like scenario. If you would have asked me at the start of the season, would we have 4 teams at 6-2 or better? It's wild, but it's true, and this trend looks like it's going to continue as well. But a lot of firepower at the top of that lineup. Johnny, the Beast, and the Koalas, all moving to 6-2. We're gonna have Chris and Alex, the brothers, most likely. I mean, both of them are kind of on the line, but most likely go to 5-3. Scott 4-4. Patrick 3-5, and then the rest, I believe, we're all taking L's. This is the L group right here. These 4. That's a good podcast name if you guys want to start a show for you guys, the L Squad or something. But yeah, this is what I wanted to show you guys. So let's take a look at my team. I know my team's been getting disrespected. The Vegas Koalas disrespected my team on Wednesday night. Let's be honest, with that absolutely disgusting and shameful, embarrassing, humiliating rankings they put out. Did you guys see they put the Rye Bread at number 4? Even though I'm 7-1, they put me at number 4 for the rankings. That is absolutely disrespectful. And I have something to show the Vegas Koalas. So, Paul, I hope you're watching. But let's take a look at this. So, check out this schedule by team. This is me right here. 6-1. 4 wins. I took a loss in week 5. and now I'm on 3 straight wins. Let's take a look at the last time my team was undefeated, lost in week 5, and then won week 6 and 7. Let's take a look at history, as it tends to repeat itself. We're going back to the Heismanbergs of 2014. Some would say the greatest season of all time by a Dynasty League team. I'd have to agree with that. We're going to have 4 straight wins to start this season. I mean, look at these. Had to put Shinwoo, the Boydocks, and Scott in their place. 4 wins. And then you know what? Week 5, yes, I took an L. I took the L to Johnny in week 5. The same way I took an L, but to Chris in week 5 this year. Now let's continue. Any predictions in the chat of what happened the rest of the season? Well, no need to predict because I'll just take you through it right now. Win. Playoffs. Win. Look at that. When I start the season 4-1, I always end the season with 10 plus straight wins and a championship. So I don't know what you guys think, but it seems like we're setting ourselves up for the same thing. I mean, look at what I did to Johnny in week 7. Do we really think that when my team is even healthier and even stronger, less buys, that I'm going to lose to Johnny with a better team? No chance. The Beasts, I'm not scared at all. Easy win week 11. We'll talk about this one in a second. And then week 13, I mean, we might as well just chalk that one up right now. I don't know. That line's going to be, that's probably going to be a record-setting line, I would say. Let's look at the chat real quick. Okay. Someone needs to, hey, Alex or Chris, one of you two need to go back home one day and make your dad his own personal YouTube channel, because I don't want to see him commenting on the Gotham City Batman's channel. That's we can't have that anymore. It's gone too far. But he says we will see what 125 a week gets you. All I'm saying is, if I'm going to face teams that only score 76 points, why would I score any more points than 125? I want to save I'm resting my players. That's what's happening. I'm calling them up. I'm saying, take it easy. We don't need to score a lot of points this week. We're saving the points when we need them. You'll see what I mean in 2 weeks. You'll see what I mean in week 10. Trust me. It's all good. I'm not worried about that at all. But don't worry, the points will show up there. Some of the old logos, yeah, some GOAT logos back there. You will be humiliated by the mighty koalas. Just wait. Well, let's take a look at this matchup, because I really haven't looked at it that much, to be honest. I know it's a big game for you. I know whenever the Rye Bread comes to town, it's a big game. But you have to understand, for me, it's just like I barely even know your team's names, so it's really meaningless. So I have to take a look and see what's going on here. I know you've had this one marked on your calendar, but to be honest, I didn't even know I was playing you this year. Let's see. So we'll go to the benches in a second, but doesn't look like the Koala's best lineup. I mean, you got Herbert going into Buffalo. What the hell do you think is going to happen to Herbert when he's playing in the ice cold? Is it Levi Stadium in Buffalo? And freaking, is this what? Do I have a date here of week 12? December something, most likely, or early December. Herbert, I mean, he played college football in Oregon. He's in Los Angeles Charger. He's not going to know what to do once it gets to negative 10 degrees. It's going to be turnover city versus my boy Josh Allen. That'll be a nice pleasant surprise for me, getting to watch Allen just outscore Herbert, but most likely 20 points that game. Kamara at Denver. Kamara is going to be his only chance to win this game. He needs Kamara to probably score 50 if he wants to win. Not worried about David Montgomery. Calvin Ridley will, he might score some points, but I'm not too worried overall. Slayton, Henry, Rivers. We'll see if these guys are even still standing by that time. Gronkowski, James. Yeah, pretty. Not. I mean, he's got a good team. I'm not gonna lie. He's got a nice team, but overall, am I scared? Not really. Especially when I'll have this guy, Christian McCaffrey, back. I'll have Michael Thomas back. I'll probably have Chark in that starting lineup. It's going to be a nasty starting lineup, guys. Maybe Jared Goff will get the start. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have so many options. Injuries really don't affect my team at this point based on how deep I am. So week 12, Chris, if possible, I'd like to see an early line on this game so I can go ahead and stack some money, save up or whatever. But I want to see the early line, and I dare you to make me the underdog, because I will go ahead and put out my life savings on the underdog line if it is there. But I'm thinking I'm gonna probably be favored somewhere in the 18 to 27 point range. I'm not. I wouldn't expect anything less than that. But if I get disrespected, I'm gonna bet heavy. That's all you got to know right there. We'll go back to the league. Check the chat. Rybread confirmed playing down to their competition. Hey, my players just they know how to save energy. They know how to budget their energy. That's what we do. We're the Pittsburgh Steelers. Fair enough. Yeah, let's do the money, Paul. Let's do the money. I'm not. Come on. I'm surprised that you think you can beat me like that. Very interesting. Let's go back into it, Chris, and the Mun Dynasty. Nothing has happened yet. Time was 6 minutes, so there's still plenty of time. We'll go ahead and bounce into week 9. And then also I have the we're starting. I see Brendan, I see Scott. They have their little segments. So I have a segment too, and I'm gonna teach you guys a fantasy lesson. So stay tuned for that. We'll get there soon. But the matchups next week, we'll go ahead and start at Chris and Mr. Yunt. Chris, potentially 5-3, looking to move to 6-3 against the Yunts, who are pretty cold here. Tough bye week for Chris with the Rams and Eagles, but overall, I don't think he's going to be too bad. Could even potentially get Trubisky back if the Bears make the decision to bench Foles. We'll have to stay tuned if that's even something they're considering. But I think Gallup is getting some good targets over there. We'll see with this one. Not the best situation for Chris with these buys. Patrick's not going to be hit too hard by buys with only Sample. Who was he? He may have been one of the guys. No, he wasn't one of the zeros last week. But not too bad for Patrick on my first glance here. He's going to get Will Fuller back. That's a big, nice component to his team. So probably a pretty close game right here. I mean, Chris isn't putting up crazy points, but with those buys, he might kind of drop down to Patrick's level. I want to see what he does with that line. We go to the heroes and the beasts. The beasts are hot. It's just a fact. So I fully expect them with almost no bye weeks. It looks like he already is actually adjusted for it to probably go ahead and take this dub. Tough week for Brendan. A lot of wide receivers on bye, and I think the others are still probably injured and Godwin and whatnot. So we should expect a pretty big favorite in the beast for that one. The Vegas Koalas and the Mun Dynasty. 1 second. The Koalas and the Dynasty, the 0-8 versus the 6-2. Yes, the Vegas Koalas. I know I talked some trash, but you should get the win here for sure with Garoppolo being out. I don't know who the hell is gonna plug into a super flex, and then T Higgins. We'll probably see some pretty rough starts in those flex positions. Could get ugly for Shinmu in those spots. Maybe we'll see some Ced Wilson or some Devin Asiasi. That'd be pretty nice. But good if you want to take the loss, which is what Shinmu wants to do. So it looks like this trend of the winning teams continue to win and the losing teams losing is going to continue. The Dynasty champions and Mike Vick in a box. Mike Vick in a box already doing the Alex Boyd-Akin, benching the whole squad with Alex Smith. The only one in. But Scott's going to absolutely rage if he doesn't get this win. Let's be honest. But I don't see Scott losing this one. I mean, bye weeks aren't too bad. And his team's putting up good points. Austin, on the other hand, nothing crazy. Just putting up the deception right now, so it's tough to get a good gauge. No Joe Burrow, but he'll have Murray and I'm guessing Bridgewater in the starting lineup. So he's always a dangerous team. Austin's always a dangerous team, but I think Scott's gonna be looking good. He's really gonna want to get back in the win column after making such a big trade and then falling this past week. Green Machine and Discount Belichick's. couple tough injuries, as we stated, for the Green Machine. Tough bye week with Kareem Hunt right there, too. Jonathan Taylor injury will be something we have to take into account. So we might see a little bit of a surprise here if the Belichicks decide they want to go after it. But then again, it's the Belichicks. They're not going to be put up a ton of points. Can't expect that. But decent lineup. No real bye weeks here. I mean, Des Bryant doesn't really count. I mean, they might have a decent lineup. Maybe they're able to do something. Alex looks like he might be cooling off though. I know he's going to potentially be on a W5, but it's going to be a very, very cold W5. Would not be surprised if he regresses a little bit after these injuries. Back to the chat. What do we got going on? Alex Smith, elite quarterback, get some revenge. I think it's entirely possible, Austin, that you get it. We'll have to stay tuned there. And then closing out the show is me and Johnny back at it after week 7. Yeah, this is the doubles matchup. So this is the everybody's playing the team they played in week 7. So a little rivalry matchup perhaps. But considering I beat Johnny in week 7 and my team gets better, I mean, there's no way I'm losing this game. Not scared of the lineup at all. I mean, Russell Wilson at Buffalo, probably not going to be able to handle that cold weather too well. DK Metcalf, I mean, he's got players, but once I drop in C-Mac, Michael Thomas, Chark, I mean, it's going to be a good game. That's all I'll say. It'll be a good game. I expect a high over/under total from Chris. We'll see where he puts it. If he gives both our teams the respect or not. But probably going to be one of those higher over/under totals. I mean, the bye weeks are almost non-existent in terms of starters for us at this point. I mean, Goff is the only guy. I mean, I am losing a top 10 quarterback in a bye week, as you see, but besides that, it's not too bad. I expect to really dominate at the running back 2 position if I have the old Clyde Edwards-Helaire versus T. Homer matchup. I expect to take probably 15 plus points out of Johnny just in that spot. So I respect Johnny's team. I think it's going to be a tough. I think we're each going to score more points than week 7, but I think I'm going to have to send Johnny to 6-3 is what it's going to be for him. So, and maybe when I get this win, I mean, it's most likely looking like a week 1 bye for me, which is what I've been saying. I've been predicting this since the start of the season, the week 1 bye. So we'll probably go ahead and celebrate that come this time a week from now. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, good matchup in the chat. I see Mr. B in there. Last thing to discuss is the 3 trades. So I think the trade hysteria started. Was it? It may have been last Monday night, or maybe it was Tuesday morning that the first one went in. But I'm gonna try to remember exactly what they were. I'll go back in history here. What the order of them were. So yeah, the first one was the Scott trade. Dalvin Cook, Amari Cooper, all those first round picks, and a couple first round picks and T Higgins over to the Munn Dynasty. And I told I thought it was a good trade, but what I was saying was, yeah, Dalvin Cook is gonna give you a hell of a season this year. Trading for Amari Cooper after Dak Prescott is hurt is a very risky situation because how much is he gonna get thrown to with either Andy Dalton or DiNucci at quarterback? I mean, you have to expect Amari Cooper's projected totals to drop quite a bit. I mean, he wasn't having like the most. He was having a solid season up to when Scott grabbed him, but 18, 16, 17, 33, 4, 20. Like, that's good, but it's not. Those aren't necessarily. That's not like what DK Metcalf's doing. It's not what DeAndre Hopkins is doing. And then you have to probably reasonably expect like at least a 25 to 50% drop off based on the quarterback being off. So I don't think the Amari Cooper addition was ever going to be like what Scott necessarily expected. He'll be a guy in the future that Scott can lean on. But for this particular season, I just don't understand. I don't think, I should say, that Amari Cooper was going to be that valuable of an addition to his team. If I was Scott, I would have just gone after Cook, tried to keep Higgins, maybe just traded Cook for a couple first round picks, if that was the move. But then again, I think Scott told me that Shinmu would only do the trade with Cook and Cooper. So I do understand what Scott's going through there, but I don't think I don't think Cooper is gonna do that much for Scott with Danucci. So I don't think this is gonna pay off exactly like Scott expected. Overall, though, I think it was a fair trade. I'm not upset at all about who won or lost that trade. It could go either way. T. Higgins could be a monster. He might only be decent and get beat out by whoever else is in the Bengals, and Joe Burrow finds a couple weapons that he just likes better. Anything is possible there. The second trade, it's the Beasts and Johnny. The Beasts giving up DK Metcalf, Chris Carson. We'll go back here, and then there were some picks involved. I don't remember them off the top of my head. Getting John Brown, Giovanni Bernard, and Mixon. I think he got a first round pick along with that. I don't exactly understand why this trade is happening. I mean, you have two teams that are pretty easily going to make the playoffs. I mean, I understand this from Giants' perspective. I don't get it from the Beast because he's obviously giving up the players who are more valuable this year. Maybe he's looking to the future a little bit more. Is the only thing I can really consider. But then again, that doesn't make sense because Metcalf is probably the best player in this trade and the best future outlook in this trade. So I don't understand this trade. I know it looks a lot worse based on what Metcalf did this particular week, and maybe he got scared watching the Cardinals Seahawks and Tyler Lockett going off. But I don't know. I don't understand the trade. If I'm Mr. Boyd, I'm not trading when I'm sitting at 5-2 and looking and playing my best football and looking to make a championship run. But then I don't know. This even trade, I guess, overall is all I can say. Like, good enough trade, but I wouldn't have done it in the Beast spot. I know he's been trying to push Metcalf. I'd like to hear some insight. Maybe the Beast appears on the Heroes Hot Seat sometime soon, and we can really hear what he was thinking trading Metcalf like that. But I think he's overwhelmingly the best player involved in this trade, and I don't think that's a good idea when your team is going for a championship. But who knows? Who knows? Could be a good move. And then the last trade, this is the one that everyone's been talking about. Everyone's upset about. I think it got probably the most emoji reaction in Discord that we've ever seen. The most negative emoji reaction, I should at least say. And that is going to be the Mun Dynasty and Alex in the Green Machine trade. Derek Carr for, we'll go ahead and just call it Derek Carr for a second round pick because there was a pick swap in there. I think it was, I don't exactly remember who owned what, but one of them owned my first round pick and one of them owned, I think, one of the Boydocks. I don't remember which one. I don't think it was Chris. It was Alex or Mr. Boydocks. Or I guess it must have been Alex's first round pick. But this ended up effectively being Derek Carr for a second, which was to the dismay of many members of the league. A lot of people came out on this trade afterwards saying that they would have offered more for Derek Carr than a second round pick if they knew that he was on the table like he was, and that Alex really got a hell of a deal getting this guy with a second round pick. And I have to agree. I mean, I'm no fan of Derek Carr. I think everyone's aware of that, but a second round pick is just absolutely crazy. I mean, this guy's got a starting quarterback job. He's not really risking losing his job. I think the Raiders have played maybe decent, but from what I understand, there's no plans to replace him this year. Mariota, I think, is the backup, so I don't see that happening. He's got some good weapons around him. Still, I mean, Derek Carr is never going to be a quarterback one. He's probably a low-end quarterback two, maybe a mid quarterback two at best. But for a super flex league where guys are having a really tough time getting quarterbacks, you've got to get at least a first-round pick for a quarterback like that. I think he's a first-round pick. Would have been the minimum I would have accepted for Derek Carr in that spot. And if Shinwu shopped him around, he probably could have ended up getting that for him. Maybe what Shinwu was thinking is that swap will actually end up working in his favor a little more. Maybe he gets like 5 spots out of the swap, and then it starts to make sense. When if you get 5 picks out of the swap, five positions higher in the draft from a swap, that starts that's obviously going to then make the trade more valuable on his side. It could be effectively make that second round pick worth a first round pick. But overall, I think this is a bad trade. bad quarterback evaluation, which is something that this league has obviously had before. It's been discussed on the deep dive with DCs, with the Russell Wilson trades of the past and whatnot. The quarterback evaluation, the quarterback market is just fluctuates at a very high rate. So who knows? Sometimes you got to pay for quarterbacks, and sometimes you just they're being given away, even starters. So that's all. I'll leave it at that for the Derek Carr trade. I don't like that one, but besides that, I think the trades, love seeing it. I think those were epic trades overall, especially the Scott and Schmidt trade. I mean, that's one of the most exciting trades in the league history, I think. But I'll leave the trade talk right there. I'm gonna check the chat to see if anything was said there. Austin says, "Don't doubt the power of Nucci Gang." Nucci Gang, that might be it. Maybe he's the guy. If Cook scores 48 points per week, Cooper could retire and Scott would be all right. That is a good point. If Cook does score 48, Scott would be good to go. Johnny's picks are super late too. Right, so okay. Everything's kind of. I need to look into that trade and see the specific spots before I probably cast too much judgment on it. The Boydox, Mr. Beast in this chat, trying to find the line of keeping a winner and getting future picks. Yeah, I think that's a championship level move right there. He knows he's gonna, even with making this trade, he knows that he's gonna be in the playoffs and still have a strong enough team to contend, and also wanting to keep that team for the future with picks. That's a very similar thing that I'd go for as well. The trade and the Wilson trade are the two trades I would have vetoed if our league had a veto rule. I mean, that Wilson one is just aging super badly, that's for sure. But I still am not in favor of vetoes. That Alex first for your. It was Alex and me. Okay, so we'll have to see where me and Alex fall in the standings in the end. But I think Alex at that point in time at least was looking like a pretty surefire playoff team based off his schedule. So it would just been based off your opinion of my team and your opinion of Alex's. From Brendan, Carr is not a rental. Quarterbacks are Cousins and Minshew. yeah, it's, and before the season too. I mean, even during the season. I mean, before the season, Minshew, people weren't even sure about his job, and Cousins was having some. There's some rumors of getting benched in the midseason. I'll trade you him for a first rounder. So Alex is already trying to turn this trade. I'd love to see that. Quarterback market definitely did change with 12 teams. I'd like to see somebody, or that being a nice little bit deeper of what it means going to 12 teams and going to the super flex with the PPR. Did quarterbacks get more valuable or did they get less valuable? We're gonna have to stay tuned. I don't think we know at this point. Exactly with so many variables going on right now. It's just tough to know. But overall, I like the trades. Good stuff. Before I go, we'll take a look at the two matchups that are still in play. We'll go to the Creamers and the Munn Dynasty. We got about to start, and Chris is down by 2.18 points. I mean, this game, so all he really needs at this point is an 11-yard reception from Shepard, or a reception and then a little run by Gallman. Chris is going to take here. Alex up by 12 still. Brady hasn't done too much, got a passing touchdown. Buccaneers are about the same total, so tough to see Brady doubling his total just in this quarter. It wouldn't be insane. And if the Giants score another touchdown, that could drop a Buccaneers down another point or so. But I gotta think Alex is looking good. He's just gotta avoid like Brady 2 and then go into overtime. So I don't think it's too much of a sweat for Alex, but I would not get too comfortable either at the same time. Sweating it out a little bit. I'd like to see that. But yeah, good stuff. I don't have anything else to say. Nothing else in the chat really. So I will sign off for tonight. And you guys One sec. We'll have that outro music, and I hope you guys have a good night. Here you go. 1 second. Oh, that was such a fail.
I'm so in love with you. Whatever you want to do is alright with me. 'Cause you make me feel so brand new. I want to spend my life with you. They say, sing, baby, since we've been together. Ooh, loving you forever is what I need. Let me be the one you come running. I'll never be untrue. Oh, baby, let's stay together. Loving you weather, times are good and bad, happy or sad. Ooh, yeah. Well, the times are good and bad, happy or sad. Why somebody, why people break up? Oh, and turn around and make up. I just came to see you'd never do that to me, would you, baby?